What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Age of Quarantine. I'm your host, Chris Enriquez. You can follow me at Chris Enriquez Drums. I work at Revolver Magazine, which you can follow at Revolver Mag, and I play in the band Spotlights at Spotlights Music. Thanks for supporting the show. We're on episode 119, and thanks to everyone at St. Vitus for letting me do this. Really excited. Tonight I get to speak to one of my favorite drummers of all time. I play drums, so he's been a huge influence on me and many people. One of the most powerful drummers I've ever seen or heard. This guy plays in the Melvins. He's been in the Melvins for coming up on 40 years. And he's also played on tracks with Nirvana, I Hate God. He played live with them. So many bands, Jello Biafra, Phantomas. The list goes on. I'm sure I'm forgetting even more. But we're going to talk to him about what he's been up to. He's got a solo record. And he's been really trying to get his music out there with that. And we're going to catch up on all things Melvins and try to kind of go through his history. The guy's been around for a long time. If you have any questions, there's a question mark box on the bottom of the screen. So I just need you guys to use that. I see Dale, you've joined us. What's up, dude? There he is. All right, everybody. I'm going to Dale on the screen, but if you have any questions, use the question mark box. I'll get to those about half past the hour. And we're going to get him on screen now. We'll try to read your comments, keep them cool. And thanks again for spending night with us. Let's wait for the internet to do its thing, and we'll have Dale on screen. Hey, what's up,
Hey,
Dale?
man, how's it going? How are you?
I'm good. Trying to stay busy. I've been. Oh, it looks like you're sideways.
Does that
now,
work?
Dale.
Does that work? Oh, here, I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
on my
that's
phone,
better.
so I have to hold it.
No worries, man. I hope that's not annoying to hold it for the next
Hope I'm not all shaky. Is this going to be okay like this?
Let's see. It looks like it's shaking a little bit.
Yeah. Can you see me okay?
Yeah, man, I'm doing good. I'm just
Excellent.
trying to keep busy. I've been doing this for 3 months now, talking to people every night.
All right on.
Instead of playing shows. What's going on with you?
Yeah, nothing. Not a damn thing. I'm in Los Angeles. Welcome to my home.
Yes.
Welcome, everybody. I've got a lot of new followers. I just opened up my Instagram today to public, so now everybody can follow me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, some of my friends were getting messages from a fake me saying to follow them. So I figured, maybe it's time to go public with this, and so now anybody can join and follow me.
I
So,
mean,
hey.
I know you're a very modest man, but you are one of the greatest drummers. So,
Shucks, pshaw, thank you.
come on now. Yeah, how many times have you been on Modern Drummer now at this point?
Well, I've been on the cover at least once.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it was more than once, but you know what? I'm thinking about an interview that I read of yours from way back in the day, but the cover was more. I guess,
yeah,
past few
they've
years.
covered me a few times, which has been great.
Yeah, man. Well, it's good to see you. I know we know each other. We have an audience watching us, so
Yeah.
I'm kind of playing host. And, if it's cool, I just kind of want to dive into your personal history, probably stuff
Sure.
you've done many times, but we have an hour to do it, if that's cool.
Okay. Yeah. Let's do it.
Well, first of all, how have you been managing to get through this weird time?
Well, sitting inside a lot. We've been doing outdoor activities, but today it's in the triple digits here, so we're staying in and keeping cool. We got to have a little out of town time last month, and we spent some time at the beach, me and my family.
That's got to be nice to spend more time with everybody.
Yeah, the one thing about this whole pandemic thing is that I've at least had more time at home.
Yeah. I met your lovely kids.
The one plus. Oh yeah.
They're great.
Thanks.
Well, that's good. Are you? How did it affect your work schedule? I'm not sure if you had like tours or things.
Oh yeah, we were going to be gone all summer pretty much. I've been playing drums with the Red Cross the last couple of years, and we were going to go to Europe, and then we were going to come back here and do a big U.S. tour, and then my solo band was going to be doing stuff right about now, or maybe even like next month. We were going to start doing stuff. So
wow, yeah, it's a lot of stuff that you were doing.
Yeah, I know, it's a bummer.
And I want to talk about the solo stuff later on. I'm going to kind of take you back in time, talk about your early days. But I did see you play in Red Cross the last time I saw you here in New York at Warsaw, and that was awesome.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, no
That was a
problem.
fun gig.
Yeah, Red Cross was on one of the first mixtapes I got when I
Oh,
first
right
got
on.
into when I first got into punk, and like in high school, like maybe like 93, 94, and Red Cross was on there, so that was
Right.
cool.
Those guys are celebrating their 40th year anniversary this year.
It's
So,
insane.
and we were going to be doing a big retrospective as well, but that's on hold for now.
And isn't Melvin's coming up on 40 years?
It's 36 for me this month. 36 years I've been in the band.
That's fucking nuts, man. I'm 39 years old, so
You're young, young
yeah,
man.
yeah, I guess so. Um, so, so let me ask you. So, like going back in time, what are your earliest memories of like realizing that music meant something to you on a bigger level, aside from like, everyone hears music when they're a kid, but at what point do you remember like latching onto it and realizing like, oh man, this really speaks to me and is something,
Pretty early. I mean, I can remember it from pretty much the beginning. I had older brothers that were in school band, and so I know that I saw them perform as a kid. I remember my mom telling me that I always wanted to be the man. I'm like, the man? Yeah, I like the guy that was up there in front conducting,
Right,
So,
right.
I didn't want to,
Like be the best at whatever you do.
well, I wanted to be the conductor.
Oh.
So I kind of am,
Yeah.
It's sideways.
No, but you can.
Oh.
No, it's working. It's okay.
Yeah.
That's funny. I mean, yeah, and your role as a drummer isn't very
Kind of like the
typical.
conductor. Yeah, I'm the man.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to get into the creative process in a bit, but like, what were some of those early bands that had a major impact on you early on?
Monkeys, the Beatles, uh, uh, um, the Glenn Miller Orchestra.
Okay.
Those are some of the first records I had that I can remember, and they're all hand-me-down records. Like the first Monkeys record I got from my brothers, the first Beatles record I got from my brothers. Oh, and then Lawrence Welk and Hee Haw.
Okay. Obviously,
because they were on TV,
Right, and the Monkees had a TV show too.
Yeah, they did. So the Monkees kind of like overrode the Beatles for a bit there since they had the TV show,
That's right. I remember because it was the '80s. I do remember. I think that I was alive for the Monkees show. I think it was still around in the '80s. Or maybe
Reruns. Yeah.
And that's an interesting time too. I always talk about how like different it must be for kids now, because in terms of like rock music, because even for me, when I was growing up, I saw Melvins on Headbangers Ball, when Houdini came out, and you don't see that anymore today for like the younger kids. You kind of have to get, there's more access, but you have to kind of find it and go out of your way. It's not just like, you don't just see Kiss on TV anymore.
Right. But you can buy their shirts at Target.
You can.
my daughter we were at Target yesterday, and I'm like, hey, look, and she's like, wait, you can get a Kiss shirt at Target? So she got herself a Kiss. See, she's discovered a lot of music, and I've never pushed stuff on her at all, but she likes some pretty cool stuff. She likes the Beatles and Kiss and David Bowie and all kinds of weird goth stuff and rock stuff as well. Her tastes are pretty eclectic.
How old is she now?
14.
Okay, so she's that's a good age for people to start figuring out.
Music's a big thing for her,
Yeah.
So
funny you mentioned the goth thing, because I know that's very in and hip right now. So
yeah, but it's not just that. It's kind of all over the map, which is kind of cool,
Yeah. And so when did you learn how to play drums, and how?
So I probably started playing seriously about 11 years old, 11 or 12, and that would have been in about 6th grade or so. And it was really because of Kiss,
Mm-hmm.
Kiss was the band for sure that made me want to like, okay, this is what I want to do, and that's right when they were at their height. And yeah, I mean, I got a drum set. I was already into Kiss before I got a drum set. And
Right.
I had a paper out when I was a kid and saved enough money to buy a drum kit, and then started learning how to play drums from Kiss Alive.
That seems to be such a common thread for so many people around your age. Whenever I listen to like any interview, whether it's a podcast, about an instrument, whether it's guitar, it's like, oh, I saw Ace Frehley or I saw Peter Criss. And obviously anyone that likes the Melvins knows what a big impact they had on the band
Sure.
in many
Sure.
ways.
Yeah,
So,
I know other drummers. I know other drummers that are kind of the same too, like Dave Lombardo. He, like our influences are almost the same up to a certain point, until I kind of discovered punk rock in the Melvins. You know,
right.
he learned from Kiss, Ted Nugent, Judas Priest, Iron Maiden. You know, especially the Judas Priest and Iron Maiden drummers were a big influence on me. You know,
Yes.
Clive Burr, he was a big one, and the Judas Priest drummer that played on Unleashed in the East, Les Binks, he was a big influence as well, for
I read
sure.
that and actually was talking about that on the episode I did with Buzz because I remember reading a while ago before we had met, you know, just as a fan, like that Buzz really liked metal drumming, but he also liked punk rock and he
Yeah,
wanted to find a metal drummer and you were the guy.
right. That's
Uh,
correct. Yeah. I mean, they're both real similar, you know, the rebellious type of music and, you know, kind of outsider stuff. So, you know, it fits.
yeah, yeah.
And
And
most metal drummers are pretty good, you know.
and later on in your drumming development, I noticed you got way more theatrical too.
Yeah. Well, sure, man. You gotta, you know, when you're behind big drums, you gotta do something to show off.
Which actually leads me to my next question because when I found out about you, um, I had never seen or heard drumming. You know, I never saw drums that big in my life ever. You know, I can't. You know, I mentioned my age. I kind of came up on '80s metal before I found out what punk rock was,
Right.
and you know, even though I knew Black Sabbath and I loved it. You know, the Melvins music certainly reminded me of that, but I never saw. You know, sorry to non-drummers out there. There's a bunch of drummers talking, so I'm gonna have to get into a little bit. But I
Yeah.
never saw a rack tom that big, a ride cymbal that big. What was the what's the background on you wanting to get drums so huge like that?
Oh, I mean, obviously, it kind of fit the music to have big giant drums. Um, you know, those drums that I had are like the same size that John Bonham had, and also Bill Stevenson from Black Flag. You know, which they were obviously a big influence on the Melvins, and that's kind of what we were going for. You know, I used to have a bigger drum set, like more drums than I have now,
Yeah,
but it eventually got pared down to that style of a four-piece kit, all of Black Flag, John Bonham, that
yeah,
style. You know, and all those drummers for Black Flag were real pounders too. So, you
right.
know,
Yeah, because you were fucking. I mean, I've seen your progression over the years, but I know like at that time, you know, Ozma, Houdini, Stoner Witch. Not that you don't still fucking destroy your drums, but you were just really giving it to them at that point.
yeah.
And
I guess
yeah, go ahead.
I guess I had something to prove. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean it's
Now
rebellious music.
the drums, over time, the drums have gotten smaller, and it's maybe less motion, but you know, it's still the same. You
I
know,
kind of
it's
felt
more
like that. I
refined.
think I mentioned on tour with you. I'm just like, man, I totally ripped this guy off. I got these big drums, and now he's playing these little drums now. But
It just evolved that way, you know.
yeah, it's hard on your body too. After a while, I can speak
A
from
bit, and
experience.
well, you know, I had a smaller kit that I recorded stuff with, and I always loved the way that thing sounded. You know, and nobody ever noticed that they were smaller drums. I mean, you can still get a really big sound out of a small kit. So, you know, and then also trying to find big drum heads can be challenging when you're in the middle of nowhere.
Right, right, right.
So I thought maybe something a little more standard would be easier to deal with. You know, and
Unbelievable.
the kit I have now sounds great. I love it. It's almost the same, just a little smaller.
Yeah, no, I love it too. Was it a Tama? It's a Tama
Yep, Thomas Star Classic.
Star Classic.
I'm not sure if I had it when we were touring with you guys, but it's a pink champagne sparkle, a 13, 16, 24 kick.
Yeah,
And
yeah, I
it
would
sounds
think that
great.
was
Okay.
it.
Okay.
Yeah,
I might
that
have
was
just
the
gotten
one.
it on that tour then. Might have been brand new on that tour.
Yeah, yeah. So I got a couple guys. If you're watching, I got to play host a little bit. Thanks for joining in. I see a couple questions being thrown into the question box on the bottom of the screen. So about 15 minutes from now, I'll get to some of those questions. And thanks again for everybody for tuning in. You mentioned Bill Stevenson. I know that Black Flag, My War. You know, the legendary story is that side 2 had a huge impact
Oh
on.
yeah, for sure. And even in the Seattle area, I think people really like that. You know, Seattle, when we were playing up there, and when I first joined the band and first discovered, you know, this new kind of music, this punk rock stuff, the thing that impressed me was that every band was different and had their own different style. You know, nobody was the same, and it was, you could almost do whatever kind of music that you wanted, and it was accepted. At least in Seattle. And then once we actually went out into the world and toured other places,
Yeah.
oh, look who's here? Oh, look.
Oh, hey.
Oh, it's Franklin.
Yeah. Franklin's probably really happy that you're home more often.
Yeah, because he gets to walk, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I said the magic word. Oh, shit.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we'll go soon,
Hey,
okay?
Franklin.
We'll go soon, buddy.
I got your dad for another, 45 minutes, and then you can go.
You can just hang out here if you want, okay?
Yeah, punk rock in
Seattle.
Yeah. None of the bands. I thought it was always weird when I know how marketing works in music, obviously, because of my day job working at Revolver magazine and doing this. But like with the terms like grunge being thrown around, I thought it was strange that like none of the bands really sounded the same. You know what I mean? So that was a cool thing about your community.
Yeah, then I realized that wasn't true every place else.
Right.
When we first went outside of Seattle, and like our first tour that we did where we went out of state was probably about 85, 86. And we went down south for the first time and realized that it seemed like people were kind of behind the times, because they weren't having any of our long-haired hippie bullshit.
Right.
They wanted hardcore, and they wanted it fast, and nobody liked that Black Flag record that we did.
Oh yeah, well, that was a very controversial time too for a lot of bands of that of the punk rock hardcore genre, I guess, because it was crossover and people experimenting, so everyone was upset.
Yeah, funny that people got upset by music that we were playing.
Right.
It's only music, but pretty weird.
Yeah,
that's when we knew we had something. Like, hey, people hate this stuff. Wow.
Well,
Cool.
you're still here, and people are still buying tickets to see you play and selling records.
Yeah.
It's working. Yeah.
Somehow.
Now, when and how did you discover underground music? How did that talk about like first shows as well, and first records and all that stuff?
Well, I mean, bands like Iron Maiden and Judas Priest were underground.
Right.
That kind of metal back then. I had older friend that lived a block away from me, who one day I saw him and he had long hair and had a Les Paul and a Marshall half stack. And I'm like, oh, and that's right when I was, getting into Kiss and stuff like that and wanting to play. And he ended up turning me on to a bunch of that stuff. I mean, I don't know how alternative it was, but he was the guy that actually, he ended up playing guitar later on in a band called Metal Church. And so,
I remember Metal Church.
So, yeah. And
I think they're still around, maybe?
They might be. My friend isn't in the band anymore, but like the main guy, Kurt Vanderhoof, is still in that band.
Yep.
And he was in a band, a punk band before that called Lewd from Seattle. Okay. So that might have been one of the first punk bands I'd ever heard, besides like the Ramones and stuff like that from Rock and Roll High School. But yeah, my older friend, Craig Wells, played guitar in Metal Church. He's the one that actually convinced me that I should play drums. He was showing me how to play bar chords on guitar. I was interested in guitar. I've been playing guitar since I was 8.
Right, because you played bass and guitar.
I played guitar. I played guitar first, and that was like learning guitar at the local library and learning how to play Obla Di Obla Da and Kumbaya and really easy songs. So he taught me my first bar chord and first like rock songs, stuff like that. And he's the one that he's like, you should play drums.
That's awesome.
Get a drum set so we can
like
jam.
That. Yeah, inspiring you and pushing you. What was like the first punk show that you remember? Like, you could go back in time.
Well, I mean, the first punk band I ever saw was actually the Melvins, and they were playing. Wow. Yeah. I was playing in a cover band in my hometown of Aberdeen, Washington, and we had the opportunity to go and play on this Christmas variety radio show that was like a benefit show a group of mentally disabled adults in my hometown, and they invited people to come down and play on the radio. So we went down there, and when we get there, there's this band playing, and there's not that many bands around where we live. These guys were from 10 miles up the road in a town called Montesano, and we never heard of them. But I knew what they were once I heard them, not really knowing too much about punk rock, right? Like I knew a few bands. Like I said, I knew the Ramones, and to me, the Melvins kind of sounded like a cross between the Ramones and Motorhead. I could hear that they had a metal. I could hear that there was metal in what they were doing.
Right.
Even and maybe I'm I'm not knowing after I met those guys that they were definitely into heavy metal, but no guitar solos, none of the heavy metal imagery, and so anyway, and they're playing this super intense fast music, and there's no breaks in between the song. And
I was gonna say they weren't as slow, but Melvins weren't as slow in those days.
Not as slow, but it was kind of mind blowing. I was like, wow. And I think my band members probably didn't really get it, but I was like, these guys are kind of cool. And then when my band got up to play, we realized that the Melvins had brought their own PA system, and that because there was no PA system there, and so the guy that was singing for our band basically had to sing through the broadcast mic.
Wow.
And it sounded horrible, and we got cut off.
We got a comment about that from Parents the Band saying, I think a recording of that show is on Mangled Demos from 1983.
It is, the very beginning. It's not the whole show, but you can hear the radio show.
That's pretty wild that it was documented. That's awesome.
Well, somebody taped it off the radio, I think.
Right. And then, what do you remember about meeting Buzz? Obviously, this is a lifelong friendship and partnership. What do you remember about that?
Well, I mean, I didn't meet him until later in the summer, and I had seen the band again. They'd actually opened up for Metal Church when Metal Church played their first gig in Aberdeen, and Melvins opened up, and for a couple songs, or at least one song, Chris Novoselic came out and played guitar with them. Now, I knew Chris from my high school. He's a little bit older than me by a couple years, but I was his brother was in the same grade as me, so I knew his brother back in grade school. And Chris was a pretty likable fella, pretty popular at school, kind of the class clown, super tall, funny guy. And I remember him telling me that, this was before the show was happening, saying that, I've joined the Melvins. I'm like, oh wow, that's really cool, And but then he wasn't playing until the last song where they played "Sunshine of Your Love." And
okay.
Nobody really liked the band until Chris came out and started playing that song, and then everybody kind of liked him.
That's really fun. And was he in Nirvana at that point?
No, this is way before, way before. So Chris was friends with those guys, and a couple months after that, they had come over to my house. Chris brought over Buzz and Matt Lucan, and they were saying that they were looking for a new drummer and wondered if I wanted to try out. And so I said yes. That sounds like fun. And earlier, I'd been playing, like I said, I'd been playing in a cover band, and that kind of fell apart, and anything I had musically just wasn't happening. And earlier that day, before those guys came over, my mom had said to me, you need to get with a band that's going to do something, so all these other guys are just flake.
Oh, wow.
And
So
not
your mom
anything.
was encouraging.
Well, yeah, but then after those guys left, she's like, I didn't mean you had to do it today.
Oh, man. That's a great thing. Oh, it's a great story, but also I just love that your mom was like the opposite of what most parents probably would be like in a situation like that.
Yeah, well, she was pretty supportive.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, we practiced at my house, so at my parents' house, so they were okay with it.
Back then, like the scene in Seattle or Washington where you were at, there's obviously the bands that everyone knows, but like I asked Buzz the same question, like who are some of your favorite bands from that time period? Between the bands we might know and some of the more unknown bands, because I know there's a lot of them.
Yeah, Soundgarden were probably one of the first ones that I was like, oh, these guys are really good. And I could tell that they had like a Zeppelin influence, again, in a punk rock scene, these guys are into Zeppelin, so I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I can still remember seeing them the first time. Malfunction, I really liked them a lot. I remember the first time seeing those guys was at this show in Seattle, and Buzz is telling me like, yeah, the singer bass player for this band, he kind of looks like a girl. He's really beautiful, and people mistake him for a girl all the time. And he's telling me this as I'm watching this really beautiful girl walking down this aisle, and she's walking up to the stage, and then she goes up to the mic and goes, I'm Landrew, the love god. We're Malfunction. I'm like, oh, yeah, he is pretty cute. So they were great. They were like the punk rock Kiss. They wore makeup, and he's wearing like a furry jacket, stuff like that.
Kind of like Mother Love Bone vibe, kind of.
Well, I mean, he was the singer in Mother Love Bone, but it was like.
Oh, it's the same guy.
Yeah, Andrew Wood.
Andrew Wood. Yes.
Yeah, Landrew, the love god from Olympus.
Ah, I didn't make the connection.
So, yeah.
It's pretty funny that I figured that out. Yeah.
They were a little more tongue-in-cheek with what they were doing, but I mean, they were still really good, Yeah. They had great songs. Green River, another one that were good. I mean, like there was a bunch of really good bands, I'm trying to think if there was, I mean, yeah, there was some other ones too. There was a band I liked from Tacoma called Noxious Fumes.
Never heard of
pretty
them.
good. Yeah.
Heard of
yeah.
The Deep Six. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me think of who else. The Limp Richards.
Okay.
There was a bunch of really good band names. Immoral Roberts.
It's amazing. Yeah.
And then Olympia had its own little weird scene too, that was completely different from that, bands like Beat Happening and it was completely different.
Such an interesting community, to go back and do the deep dive. I'm always fascinated by that, especially the sub pop compilations. And is it the Deep Six? Am I getting that right?
Right.
Now I'm going to move on, and I'm going to take some questions from people. But this is more of like a selfish curiosity as somebody that followed the Seattle scene back then. But how important was, you guys were into metal, but how important was like Queensryche to like to you guys growing up, like because they were kind of big at that time too?
No, they were not my thing.
They weren't. Okay.
Nah, they yeah. Those guys were poser metal, man.
Okay.
No, I don't know. I was more into hard and heavy.
Okay.
And they were a little too, on the
operatic.
Almost Journey.
I got you.
Side of things, which
right.
I don't know. That wasn't me, but I've got nothing against them at all. But it just I liked I liked new wave of British heavy metal stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, Raven. Raven was one of the first
yeah.
bands when I joined the Melvins that I realized that the other dudes liked Raven as well. So that was like funny.
Yeah.
That's a band that we bonded on was Raven.
I think they're still doing it too. I think they're still around.
That'd be great. I've never seen them. I'd love to see those guys.
I could be wrong. I mean, a lot of these guys are getting back together with different members, so I could be wrong. But
yeah.
Okay, so let me get to some of the questions here that people have been submitting, and then we'll get back to mine.
Thanks the U-Men. Somebody mentioned the U-Men. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They were another good one too, and a big one that we really liked. Let's see.
Yeah, Buzz mentioned that too. I think they were on that compilation.
Wacko, right? The drummer from Raven.
Yeah.
Wacko. Right. He used to wear a hockey mask, I believe.
Okay, so this one is from Stephanie, my friend in Baltimore. What's up, Stephanie? Thanks for joining. She wants to know, what are some of your favorite modern day newer bands?
Newer bands. Let me think. God, what have I been listening to lately that's new? I like Ty Segall stuff a lot. He's
absolutely.
I dig his stuff quite a bit. He's always got something new out, so that's cool. Oh God, I always blank when people ask me about new bands. Spotlights. You guys are good. Let me think. Oh God, I don't know. it'll probably come to me later.
Okay, well, we still have another half an hour.
Yeah, sure.
Stephanie, thanks for that question. And Stephanie's in a great band called Caustic Casanova. Everyone should check them out. Okay, I'm not going to pronounce this person's. Well, I'll try. Ignacio Soto, 1138. That wasn't so bad. Any plans to come back to South America after the pandemic? Chilean fans miss the band.
Yeah, we'd love to get back down there. That'd be great. No plans at the moment, but I'd love to do it. I'd love to come back. We had a good time when we were down there last time.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you guys are just itching to get out there. Okay, this is another one from Disastrous. How did you end up in the Harvest Moon video?
Well, I looked like Neil Young, which kind of got me the gig. Remember the Doors movie that Oliver Stone did?
Yeah, I love that movie. Val Kilmer did a good job.
Yeah, I was an extra in that movie. Me and 1,000 other dudes in San Francisco, and there was a casting agency that had a hotline number. And after that Doors movie, my girlfriend at the time called it, and they were looking for people to be in a Neil Young video. And so I just went to the tryout. I almost didn't go because, being the extra in the Doors movie was long and grueling hours for little pay. So I was almost like, it'd be fun, but I don't know. And then anyway, we ended up going down there, and when I walked in, they're just looking at me really weird, and they're like, we're looking for somebody to play young Neil Young. I'm like, no, really. So anyway, I got the part.
That is fucking wild. I didn't know that. I just learned that just now. I had no idea.
Oh, have you ever seen the video?
No. You know what? I can't remember it right now in my head at all. I'm gonna have to put it on after this.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
All right.
So I was young Neil Young. I wore all of his clothes. I jammed with his band. I danced with his wife, and I even crashed his car. Seriously, like
crazy.
One of the scenes, they wanted me to drive the car down this skinny road, not looking over, because the video is about when he fell in love with his wife. So I'm looking over at this young version of Neil Young's wife, not driving, not paying attention to the road. And the director was actually Julian Temple, believe it or not. He's the guy that did the Sex Pistols movie.
Yeah, what, Sid and Nancy?
No. Well, no, he did the documentary, and then a couple. There's one called Pissed that came out like 10, 12 years ago, and then there's another earlier one that he did. Anyway, I had to drive off the side of the road without looking, and I did it. I did it 2 times perfectly, and then the third time I got the rear fender jammed into a stump.
That is fucking hilarious, man.
Yeah.
It's even funnier just that you were also an extra in the Doors movie. Is it noticeable in any of the scenes? No,
you can't see me.
You were like one of the hippies walking around.
Yeah, I was probably Watch it. It's like a big concert scene, where there's like a bunch of Native Americans dancing with them, the big fire. Big fire pit going on. It's somewhere in there, but you can't see me.
That's amazing.
But in the Neil Young video, that was pretty crazy. And then it got played a bunch. Like when it came out, it was on VH1. Like every time I turned the TV on, it was on. I was like, oh my God, this is really weird.
I have a funny feeling when I see it, I'm going to be like, oh, this video. So I'm going to have to try to put it on after this.
Yeah.
A couple people tuning in now that I see asking questions that we already covered. If you missed the first half, as soon as this is over at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard, the Instagram will have the archive, and it'll be on YouTube within the next week or so. We got another question from Conan Neutron. How has working with
that
Toshi, is this a friend of yours?
Never heard of him. No, I know who he is.
How has working with Toshi Kasai changed the way you record?
Oh gosh. Well, Toshi's a really great engineer. First off, he's really fast and efficient, and we've been working with Toshi for, easily 20 years now, since the Hostile Ambient Takeover record. So, we showed up at the studio. We met him through the Tool guys, Adam Jones,
right?
And wasn't long after we moved to Los Angeles that we were doing a new record, the Hostile Ambient Takeover record, and we got a hold of Toshi and went to the studio that he worked at, and when we showed up, he's like, so who's engineering and producing? And we're like, you know how to run this stuff, right? He's like, yeah, okay, well, you're engineering. Oh, okay. And that was the start of a long relationship. You know?
Yeah, because you've been working with him ever since, including your solo record.
Oh yeah. And we do all kinds of stuff. We've produced records together. Actually, Conan, he is a Conan Newton and the Secret Friends, and I've played drums on a bunch of his records. So, so he's worked with Toshi many times and knows him really well. Toshi's really great. You know, I can't say enough good things about him. When we started working with him, it was before digital, really. You know, we went from analog tape and now things are much easier. I think.
Well, yeah, we let's talk. By the way, guys, again, if you're tuning in, we did cover his drumming influences and all that stuff. So when it's over, you can go back and start from the beginning. But don't want you to think I'm ignoring you. I try to get to everybody. The solo stuff. You did a solo EP with the Melvins back in the day when you were doing the sort of like the Kiss.
Right.
Covers and all that. Not Kiss cover songs, but the
covers. Parody of the Kiss solo records.
Right.
That's how Kiss found out about us.
Oh yeah, and because Gene Simmons eventually, Kiss took you out, right? And then Gene Simmons played with you live once.
Before we toured with Kiss, he came and played Going Blind with us live once.
Fucking awesome. Yeah, there's footage of that on YouTube.
There is. Yeah.
There's a great part that I really enjoyed where I guess someone locked his bass in a room.
His bass got locked into our dressing room and nobody had the key.
And he just fucking knocks the door down.
He has to kick the door down to get his bass out. We don't know any of this is going on. And we're standing on stage going, fuck, where is he? You know, and we're like, we got a surprise for you tonight. We got a special guest coming out here. We don't know where he is, but you're going to be surprised. And you know, he didn't want us to make a big deal about him coming out or even announce who he was. He just wanted it to happen. Yeah. But eventually he made it out there. Oh, and also, he left his bass in our hands, you know, our guitar tech's hands, really. Right. You know, he's like, I'll take care of it for you. And then when he opened up his bass, he saw that there was a giant pack of Kiss Gene Simmons guitar picks. Like, oh! And so we taped them all to the stand, you know? Right. And when he gets out there, he looks and he's like, whose picks are these? I'm like, your name's on them. They're yours. He's like, oh, and starts like flicking them out into the audience.
That's so funny. If anybody hasn't seen that footage of what we're talking about, it's pretty great. Because it's like somebody had a camera on the entire time through the whole process of bass getting stuck. And I think you were playing with Primus or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. It was
my drum tech, I think, that filmed it.
So funny, man. The solo record, I know, is a very big deal for you right now because that's what you're doing and what you're promoting. And so talk a bit about how that came about, what it was like making it, who's playing in the band, and all that stuff.
Sure. Well, you're talking about my first solo record, correct?
Yeah, because you have one that's been out, but then do you have?
Yeah. There's the solo record, Fickle Finger of Fate, came out about 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. I had done a bunch of stuff with, not a bunch of stuff, but a few things with the label Joyful Noise. Right. And one of the things that they did was this crazy lathe cut record that it has 6 spindle holes on it, and then grooves that correspond with that spindle hole. Okay. So it's kind of a weird concept. So right. There was like 6 songs on one side and 6 songs on the other side. And so depending on where you put your record down, it could look really warped when it was going around the turntable. That's fucking wild. And so the songs were little 30-second drum songs, kind of like haikus or like TV themes, you know. That's kind of how I approached it. Like, okay, or like a commercial, you know, it's like a 30-second little commercial about this little piece. And so and so these records are all handmade, each one is cut in real time, and it takes a long time to make. So they were limited edition. They were limited to 127.
Okay.
Why? Because we like that number.
I was gonna say, yeah, but
Just
I do know that people, the secret, which I know you guys do a lot, is exclusive stuff where there's,
Yeah, I mean, but also it's hard to make. So I mean, you can't. I mean, it would be so time consuming and expensive to mass produce.
Right.
So they're limited, and they're cool little things, and it sold out right away, and some people were kind of bummed out. I didn't get it,
Yeah, right.
Like, well, yeah, and so I talked to the label, and I'm like, well, I've got more drum songs, and I've also got songs. What if I just did a full length record, a solo record? And they were totally down with it, and it was fun, a lot of fun to make, and I made that record with Toshi. And
he plays in the live band too.
Yep, he plays in the live band. So, but before the live band, I didn't have a live band, and so after I made the record came out. I'm like, man, it'd be fun to play this stuff live. And so I got Toshi to play, and Toshi has played with me before in a band called Altamont. That was a band I had in San Francisco with some friends of mine. Dan Southwick is bass player, Joey Osborne's the drummer. We were a three-piece until Toshi came along, and then we added him as second guitar and keyboards. So, but those other two guys live in San Francisco, and we never really get a chance to play,
Yeah.
So we used to play a bunch when I lived there, and we tried to keep it going, but it's hard. So I decided that it'd be fun to form a band down here, and after the solo record too, I was like, yeah, I'd like to play this stuff live. So I got Toshi to play, and I got Steve McDonald to play bass.
I saw that. Yeah, he's such a fucking ridiculous player, man. Unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty incredible, and I'm really grateful for him playing with me, because he's really good.
Yeah. He's such a full package too. He looks great.
Yeah.
he's got
a great
everything.
Singer. He's one of the best bass players ever.
Yeah.
And then this girl I knew, Mindy Jorgensen, is the drummer, and she had been before. I'd kind of been thinking about putting together a band, and I saw her at a show, and she's like, I'm kind of looking for more people to play with. And I saw her band. She was in this band called Mod Pods.
Okay.
And she's also in a band called Dangerously Sleazy that are really cool as well. But I'd seen Mod Pods first, and I liked the fact that in that band she plays drums and then also switches to bass or guitar. I'm like, oh, cool! It'd be really cool to have somebody else that if I wanted to switch to drums or whatever,
multi-instrumentalist,
then she could jump on guitar or whatever, And so I thought, oh, that's perfect. Though that hasn't really happened too much yet, but for live, what I figured out I could do is I've got a little cocktail drum kit, the Tama cocktail drum kit.
You either told me about that or I saw it, and I knew about this somehow. The cocktail drum kit.
Yeah. You can either sit down and lower the whole thing. I've got it sitting right over here, but and that's the kit I've been playing while I've been stuck inside.
Didn't you play it in the bus jams?
Yeah. No, that was a different one.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can see me. There's live footage of Dale Crover Band that you can look up, and so I've got the cocktail kit in front of me that I can use and then I play a guitar and sing.
That's awesome. So, I love that. It's great too, and it's also just cool to see a different side of you outside of what we're used to.
Yeah.
Really melodic.
Yeah. Thanks. So, yeah, I put together the band. We ended up doing a tour opening for Red Cross. That was part of the reason Steve was like, your band could open for us, and then I'll play bass. I'm like, great, that sounds great. And so, we were hoping to do a bunch of touring this year. I've got something new that's coming soon. I won't quite announce it yet, but soon.
Yes, that's what I was asking, because I knew there was something happening.
Yeah, there's something's happening for sure. And those guys all play on it, and I think it came out good. I'm excited. So You know,
Very cool.
hopefully,
Very cool. And
yeah.
there's a music video out too from the last record. If anybody watching hasn't checked it out, I don't know. There might be more than one, but I know
Yeah, there's a
one.
couple. There's a
Okay.
couple.
Okay.
But yeah, there's one called Bad Move. And then I'm blanking on what the other one is, but yeah.
Well, yeah, there's stuff out there though, and it's great. And I wanted to also, you know, we got 15 minutes left, and you know, it's impossible to cover, I guess, your entire life in an hour. We try to get to it, but
we'll have to do it again.
Yes, yeah. Next time we'll do it with the cameras off and with a cup of coffee. But so. Speaking of stuff that you're doing outside of Melvins, and I don't know how much you can talk about it, but well, actually, sorry, are you involved with that Matt Cameron record? Or am I making this up? I know.
Yeah. I mean, it's a Matt Cameron solo record. He, well, a little. We did the Chris Cornell tribute concert a year ago, last January, and Matt, I think, is the one that pretty much got us involved in playing that. You know, in fact, we had heard a story when they were first having meetings about having a tribute show for Chris. They had asked Matt, like, what bands would you want to play? And he's like, well, the Melvins and Paul McCartney, because Chris's favorite bands were the Beatles and the Melvins. And so we're like, what? So, I mean, you know, we knew those guys liked us, but that was really very cool to hear,
Yeah.
You know, and so
cool to watch, even though I wasn't there in person, just to watch the video of you guys.
Yeah, it was a pretty fun and emotional night, you know. But after that, you know, and I don't know how, if we were talking to Matt about coming to the studio. I know he was doing some stuff with Taylor Hawkins, with
Right.
Taylor singing, and the Soundgarden guys had actually done a song for that show, a couple songs, I believe, with Buzz playing guitar and Taylor singing. And so I think it kind of all started that way. Matt came to our studio and had a couple songs he wanted to work on. And he got Buzz to play guitar and Steven to play bass. And then there's a couple songs that I played double drums on with him. You know, he certainly doesn't need me as a drummer, but you know, he was willing to let that happen. And then I actually played some guitar on one song.
Oh, that's awesome. So you did like a bunch of different stuff. Hearing you guys play drums together, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So, you know, I don't know if he'll come back and do more, but it sounds good, you know, and I like his songs. You know, you can tell that he wrote stuff for Soundgarden for sure.
Absolutely. You guys are giving me ideas. Singing drummers, starting solo projects. Maybe.
Yeah, man, there needs to be more singing drummers for sure. Chris Cornell was a singing drummer. When I first saw those guys, they were a three-piece, and he was singing.
Really?
And playing drums, yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he was a good drummer. He had a big double bass drum kit. You know, it was awesome.
That's great. Do you miss playing double drums with my own bandmates are telling me no. Do you miss playing double drums with
Cody? Yeah, man, I'd love to play again. I just saw a thing online where he was playing drums along to a song by The Sweet. You know, I don't know if you know that band, but that drummer in that band was awesome. And
from the 70s or 80s.
The 70s band, The Sweet.
Yeah.
And Cody, it's him. It's him playing drums. He filmed it himself, I'm thinking. And it's to a song called Set Me Free, which the drum track is just killer, and he nailed it. So
awesome.
Yeah, someday we'll do it again, I'm sure.
Absolutely. I always thought that was, I mean, I'm sure you've heard it from everybody. It was just such a unique way. Melvin's like evolved so much since the band started, and that was like a cool time period. Since then, I feel like the band has evolved even more. Like the latest album is nothing like, you know, the traditional Melvin sound that we know. What's the we have 10 minutes left, but what's a typical creative process like for you guys?
I mean, Buzz will have songs almost complete when he comes in, usually. I mean, not always, but most of the time he'll have something. Sometimes he won't have the whole thing, and we'll just sit there and work on it till it's a song. You know, sometimes those things don't get done for years and years and years. You know, I know that there was a song on one of the last records that we'd had kicking around for a long time before we finally figured out how to finish it. you know?
Yeah.
Sometimes you get to a certain point and you're just not sure what to do. But, you know, when we're recording, at least of late, Buzz will have a song idea and he'll come in, and our rehearsal space is now our recording studio. So we don't have to rehearse, learn a song, break down, move to a studio setup. I mean, we're ready to go. We're ready to go to record. And so we'll sit there and work on a song till I've got it, you know, or at least got it enough to try it. And then we'll just start recording it until we got it. And
it's just so wild. Like you guys have like a language that you speak that I'm sure you could say about any other band or group of musicians, but it's so outside of the box that, like, you know, you've had all these members come and go. It just seems that the two of you just share this one mind when it comes to, because as a player listening to it, I'm like, how the fuck do they even do that? Like some of the songs that you guys write.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, even with Buzz's stuff, sometimes I gotta like just like, you know, not just where my downbeat where I think the downbeat is not where it is, you know.
Okay.
I mean, and Buzz, I mean, he isn't you know, he doesn't really know music theory or anything like that, you know, which is fine. It's probably better that way. It's because he's got his own weird ways of doing things, and so
Yeah.
I've learned how he does it, you know.
Do you have music theory training?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, I took drum lessons, and I could read drums.
And when you guys record, do you guys record to a click, or is it all just?
No, not usually. Not, you know. No, Buzz doesn't like to use a click.
Yeah.
When I'm recording my solo stuff, though, I mean, I record guitar first, so
you have to.
Yeah. Well, it makes it so I won't forget it.
Right.
I mean, you know, before, I mean, I used to do like my own songs on like a 4-track, you know, and I would do drum tracks first and then just try to memorize it.
Right.
Which always made it to where I'd left a part out and had to compensate for that. Like, oh fuck, I'm not going to record it again. Oh, this is just how the song goes now.
You're like, fuck it, yeah.
Right. But I mean, you know, but it doesn't matter too much using a click for the Melvin stuff. I mean, stuff wavers and speeds up a little bit, but I mean,
yeah,
that's natural.
That's you know, depending on who you're talking to, that's a living, breathing thing, you know.
Right.
We got about 8 minutes left, so I just got a couple more for you, and then we'll let you be on your way so that you can take Franklin out. I'm sure Franklin's dying to get out there. But what do you attribute to being able to keep? There's Franklin. Is he over there? Oh, there he is.
Ready for walk? Ready for walk?
I wasn't gonna say the word. I know the other word. You're not supposed to say the T word, because then they get I don't know.
What's the T word?
No.
What's the T word?
The treats.
Oh, treats.
Yeah. Treats. They go crazy.
Yeah. Want treat? Yeah. Treat. Walk. Treat. Walk. Treats and walks. We'll go on walkies. Okay, want to go on walkies? Oh.
All right. Well, Franklin, we'll let your dad go. We're almost done with him, I swear. It's kind of a redundant question, I'm sure, but like, what do you attribute to being able to keep a band going 36 years with Buzz?
I guess just being realistic about everything.
Yeah.
You know, we don't really get in fights or anything like that, you know, and just knowing that this is what we want to do, and that if we're cool about it, we can make a living off of doing this, you know.
Absolutely.
And we like what we're doing, you know.
I was going to ask you. I mean, yeah. I mean, you've set your own sort of rules and standards for everything, which you don't see a lot. I guess, you know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe a lot of bands do it, and we just don't know. But in the sort of like grand scheme of like what successful bands are, there's always like a manager and all this, like a team of people, but everything with you guys is so self-contained, and I think we learned a lot from you, obviously. But do you still have fun touring, or is it tough leaving the family so much?
It's tough, but I mean, you know, it's what we do.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, my kids grew up with it, so you know, they kind of they're used to it, even though, like, you know, the first week I think is always the hardest. But then after that, you get in the groove of things, you know. I do, and they do as well. And, you know, we can talk this way if we want to. You know, usually it's for only a couple seconds anyway. Like, hey, how's it going? Okay, bye.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, it's kind of like this is what you do. It's always been
Right,
that way.
right.
Yeah. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, you know, I think there was a quote that was, I think by Rush, who, you know, because you know, they said something about touring. It's like, we tour because we have to, and we have to because we can. So
Right. I like that. That's awesome. Well, we'll let you go because I know Franklin wants to.
he's
do his
cool.
thing.
It's hot as balls out right now. So once he gets out there, he'll want to come back in, I'm sure.
Well, I guess the last thing, do you have any, you mentioned new music soon from you. Is there anything that you want to announce or any, you know, mention before we wrap it up?
Oh, there's, let me see. I mean, there's new Melvin stuff coming as well.
Amazing.
We just finished a record with the 1983 version of the band, which has the original drummer Mike Dillard playing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I get to play bass, so that's really fun.
Oh, you got your hand in every pocket.
I know, yeah, right. Disgusting, isn't it? That'll probably be coming out, I don't know, I guess maybe early next year or something, within a year's time for sure.
Right, right.
You know, and hopefully once this is all over, we can get back to playing live. Love to do that again. Love to see everybody.
Yes.
And that would be really great.
Well, we'd love to see you play at St. Vitus here in Brooklyn.
That would be fun.
Yeah, I know we're trying to. I know there's talks.
We should do a residency there.
Yeah, that was the idea. I'll let the people in charge sort of work their magic. But I heard some ideas that they had, so that would be great, and people would be really excited about that. But
I'd love to come out there with the Dale Crover band too someday, and Red Cross again. Yeah,
dude, it'd be perfect. I mean, I don't know if you've been there, but it's kind of like you know, filled the gap for like CBGBs ever since that went away.
Yeah, I've been there once. I saw Nirvana play there.
Oh shit, we didn't know each other. I was there.
Were you there?
I was there. I was one of.
That's funny.
Yeah. Cool, awesome, man. That's a lot of great stuff, and yeah, that's funny too, by the way, because Melvins is the only band I've ever seen open up for themselves, and I guess you did that with Red Cross too. So I think it's amazing that you're doing this with the original lineup. Dude, thank you so much for doing this with me.
Thanks, man. Good to see you.
It's good to see you too.
It's been a while, man. I missed you guys when you were out here last year.
I know. We were so close, and I got to see you for a little bit in Brooklyn at Warsaw, but you know.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah.
How the bandmates? The bandmates doing good?
They're doing good. They relocated to Pittsburgh.
They're in Pittsburgh, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little cheaper out there than over here. I stayed though.
Yeah, are you in Brooklyn or New York? Where are you at?
I'm in Brooklyn right now. I'm from here, so I didn't want to leave. But you know, we're keeping it going. We're supposed to be on tour right now, but it didn't work out.
Man.
So, yeah. But hopefully we'll cross paths again soon. And I should thank Ipecac for making this happen, and Mark and Greg and everybody. So
right on.
Yeah. All right, man.
Thanks, everybody.
Yes, thank you. We'll talk to you soon, man.
All right, you take care. Right on. Bye-bye.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. That was a blast. And I see some people were asking questions. This episode is going to be available on the St. Vitus Instagram in about 5 minutes, so you could start all over again. It'll be on YouTube within the next week or two as well. Thank you to everybody for supporting. Thank you for spending time with us, and we'll be back. I'm not sure if we'll be back tomorrow. We might be skipping tomorrow, but this week we've got a lot of great stuff happening. I have Aaron Harris from the band ISIS on Thursday, and we have Void Vision on Friday. Yeah, we'll see you all soon. Oh, wait, we might have a special cameo. We might have a special guest for our last 53 seconds. Last 40 seconds. Let's get him on here. I'm looking at you, Spotlights. You got 30 seconds. Hey, everybody.
Oh, whoops.
What's up?
You got 30 seconds. What do you want to say to everybody? Nice to see you guys.
I just want to say hi.
We just want to say hi.
I'm eating some Cheeto Puffs and hanging out watching you, so.
All right. We should be on tour right now. What a shame.
We should be on tour right now.
We should be somewhere.
This is the first cameo from a band on an episode.
I didn't think you were actually going to let us in.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to let Dale walk his dog. We got 10 seconds and counting. So.
Oh, shit. We love
You want to say goodbye to everybody on the count of 3? 1, 2, 3.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
We all said goodbye in our own way. Love you. Love you guys too.
Love you.
Love
Bye.
you.